What is the deal, beautiful people? My name is Ramon. Welcome back to the channel, and around here we talk about any and everything photography. Today's topic, video, and my journey in really dipping my toe into this video thing. It ain't easy.
1, 2, get down.
This may sound kind of strange. You know, I've been dealing with video for years at this point, right? Like our original YouTube channel, Lifestyles Defined, that's still up. What I would consider very successful. I think it's like 8 years old at this point, right? So we've been dealing with videos for a very long time, and the concept of capturing video, capturing sound, editing video, uploading it, and making a cohesive story and script and blah blah blah, being comfortable in front of the cameras, all this stuff I've been dealing with for so long. But in the face of today's realities, where Instagram is kicking photographers out, I've got clients that are asking, yeah, I want you to capture the event, and also can you capture some video? Like, and then myself, I don't read shit. You know what I mean? Like, I need it to be in a video. That's just how I digest now. That's just how I consume content and I learn now. And in the face of all of that, like, it's very daunting for me to think about, well, how do I exist as a creative in that world? Like, I don't know. There's something about it that's very, what's the word I'm looking for? It's very intimidating. Even though I've been doing a lot of the mechanical part of it for a while, having to exercise it from a creative standpoint is giving me a lot of anxiety. But again, the realities of today, me realizing that, you know, I consider myself to be a very good photographer for so many reasons. There's actually a video on the channel about that, why I consider myself a good photographer. It's not what you think. Check that video out. You look for new challenges, right? Because you always want to be pushing yourself, and the more you push yourself, the better you become, and the more you learn about yourself and your creativity and your tools. And it's not that I can't challenge myself in the photography world, but like, I just want to take on a different challenge. I want to challenge the other side of my tool. You know, if I'm always using the Phillips side of the screwdriver, what can I do with the flathead? Let's investigate this. So the realities of today are really pushing me more and more to explore the possibilities of video and learning things about it. And yeah, I'm up for the challenge. Daunting as it is, as it seems, a little scary. I think I'm definitely going to take that challenge. By far, I think the highest mountain I've had to climb with video is composition, right? So if you know, I laid the baseline that I've been shooting this type of stuff, talking head videos, for years. In a creative setting, that means nothing. You know, it's about storytelling. And this is a trap that I was happy to spring in my photography days. When a lot of people talk about composition in photography, I feel like that conversation is taken out of context. And I feel like people say things like, well, when it comes to photography, composition is king. Like, that shit is false. Like, your subject matter is king. The moment you're trying to capture is king. The reason you're pulling out your camera is king. Composition is how you sell it, how you further communicate it. And for me, I fell into that trap of the golden ratio and learning rules and composition, foreground, background, midground, like all this stupid shit. Like, it didn't matter. And when I was, not that it wasn't important, it didn't matter because I lost sight of the subject. I lost sight of the reason, of the moment in time that I'm choosing to capture. That's what important. And I always go back to the Cartier-Bresson image where I don't sound like a wild fucking hater, but like, yo, it's a dope image. But like, I just don't get why everyone geeks out about this. Like, there's a kid with an umbrella jumping over a puddle and a bicycle. Like, he didn't fucking put this together in photo. He just happened to be in the right place at the right time. How can you tell me about composition when there's 50 different million moving parts here? You know what I'm saying? So I'm supposed to study the lightning strike that he had as the baseline of how I'm a photographer? Like, no. What I want to study is the psychology behind me thinking about what it feels like to be a child and that carefree state of mind, jumping over a puddle, playing in the rain. I don't care if my shoes get, because today you ain't getting no water. Damn sure not no dirty rainwater in my Yeezys. That's not happening, baby. But what a freedom it felt to be a child, to be able to do that. You know what I'm saying? And looking to become a parent, I would want to give my child the freedom. I would want to be the type of parent that's not going to grab my child by the ear. What the fuck are you doing? You know how much I pay for those Jordans for you to jump in? Get your ass over here. Right? Like, so even today, the psychology of that image resonates with me, but not the way that it's taught about composition. Bit of a rant. But how do I reevaluate that in video? I feel like the composition of video is much more wrapped around the subject and how you keep the story that you're trying to tell in mind. I think in the video world, composition is thought in a correct context. So I'm happy that I've got that bit of perspective about it, but still it's fucking difficult, right? It is so difficult because not only is it composition, it's about controlling the light in the composition. It's about how does the light in the composition relate to the subject. And you could have a key light here or a key light there, and they completely sell totally different stories from a subject matter perspective. It's nuts, and it is quite intimidating. And I am watching a lot of film videographers on YouTube, and I'm not so much dissecting the technical part of what they're teaching. Although I'm paying attention, I'm really nerding out and geeking out about how they think from a compositional standpoint, and how they think from a storytelling standpoint. So, you know, that's a very deep rabbit hole for me that I'm currently on, and it's a lot of fun, but it is very difficult, especially existing in this nuanced world where I'm still very much an active photographer, right? And I feel like the two can kind of be at odds in my creative mind sometimes. So yeah, it's composition and video is kind of heavy for me right now, and I'm really fighting my way through it, enjoying it nonetheless, but we gonna get it, baby. We gonna get it. After years of going down the wrong path in photography, I'm on the lookout for things in videography and video that I should watch out for. And one of those things is just the frame rate conversation, right? Like, I'm a big MKBHD fan, and he's like 30 frames a bust, right? And then you've got like your Tony Northrups, who, you know, Tony and Chelsea I do like. They're all in on 60, right? And then you've got all the rest of the film photographers, videographers, that's like, if it ain't 24 frames a second, go fuck yourself, right? So it's like, well, what the hell? What am I supposed to do? And I think I'm steadfast on, I chose the utilitarian path, for the frame rate. So for creative stuff, I shoot 4K 60. Not because 4K is a must-have or 60 frames is it. I shoot 4K because I want to capture the most detail, most data possible. And it gives me the flexibility to crop and just slightly compose a little different. You know, if I'm looking for some more squeeze out of some footage. And the 60 frames is not because Tony was right and we all love this soap opera look, but I shoot 60 because if I want to slow it down, I can get some slow motion footage, right? So right now I'm shooting this at 30 frames a second. I export it. I throw it on a 24 frames a second timeline and I export it at 20 frames a second. So even on my creative work, that's not a talking head video, that 60 FPS gets tossed on a 24 FPS timeline. And that's just where I'm going to be at, fam. Like, it works and it works. I don't really care to getting the nuanced differences. Like, I've seen things like you should be shooting 30 and then reduce the footage by 20 or 80%, whatever the fuck it was, and it gives you this dreamlike, like, you know, all that stuff is cool, but I'm not there to appreciate that yet. I didn't get to a piece of this videographer journey where I have to apply that as a tool to sell my story, right? So this is kind of where I'm at with the frame rate. I don't know. I'm gonna be here for a while, and the reason I do have the Fuji does shoot like I don't know, what is it, like 1080p? Was it 240 or 120? I find that slow motion footage to be too slow. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's crazy because every aspect of video you gotta find your thing. And it took me so long and so much research about the FPS and what to do and when to do it. But I think I found my sweet spot. And even that was like, whoa, watch out. Let me extract what I want, where I want it to be, and I'm out, because it's a rabbit hole, the FPS thing. It is a rabbit hole. Before I proceed, I just want to take a quick break, do some house cleaning. If you liked the video thus far, hit that like button. And if you're new here, please feel free to go to the channel, look at another 2 videos or so. And if you like my style, you connect with what I'm saying and you vibe, we rock out, hit that subscribe button, baby. I'd love to have you. But for right now, I have a question. Have you thought about transitioning over from photography to video? And I always like to put the baseline down. Things are changing, right? The way we consume is changing. The way we learn is changing. And I think our artistic values will change. And I feel like we're moving toward a world where some way, somehow, video will also be as artsy as paint or photography. And I don't know what that'll look like yet, but you know what? I think I want to learn the skills. I want to learn the craft so that when it happens, I'll be in the midst of it and I can enjoy it as it's happening. And I'm curious how many of you out there has had this thought for yourself, especially a lot of big platforms are really segueing over from photography to video. Now really is the time if you're curious about it. So hit the comment section below. Let me know where you guys stand on being being creatives and really delving into video and what that has to offer. To close out the video, no pun intended, there's a lot about video and videography that I think this feeling that I'm having of being overwhelmed and being intimidated, it all comes down to being acclimated to it, right? Like, you got to figure out the tools, you got to figure out the composition, you got to figure out the use cases. I got to figure out now, what does a project mean? And this is really how I learn to do things. I execute in a project world. So for photography, if I wanted to learn street photography, I would create a project. I don't know, Midtown at sunset, and I would leave work every day and I would walk the street at sunset and I would capture images for a month straight. and I would sit down and try to cull those images and put together a cohesive project of 10 to 15 images. And as I'm doing that, I'm learning things about how to be consistent with my camera settings and how to spot consistent lighting and what I like and what I don't like about post-processing and storytelling and all these things. And I'm very much looking for that in the video world. So, you know, be it telling stories with pops, little toys and little shorts, 30 second shorts, and doing things like when I'm smoking meats for the house and got the grill going, how do I tell that story with video and feeling comfortable with the tools? And I think I'm getting there, right? I'm not going to say I'm good, but I think I'm understanding what I'm good at, what I'm not good at, and where I need to pay more attention to. I think I'm getting a better understanding of just how serious lighting is, right? And then even in this journey, I go back and I watch a lot of movies, and I'm just like, wow, yo, this shit runs deep. This shit runs deep, right? And then like, there's some cool parts of it too, where I got a gimbal for the iPhone, so I'm shooting video on the iPhone because I wanted to remove an extra layer, right? I wanted to make it easier for myself. So instead of struggling with focus and struggling with exposure and camera focal lengths and that stuff, like, let me just put the goddamn iPhone on the gimbal or on a tripod and let me get to work. And if I can create a properly exposed image on the iPhone using the iPhone video, or create a nice scene, nicely lit scene with some moving light, or a great product photography video using the iPhone, then when it comes time for me to pull out the camera, I can only go up, right? So a lot of that stuff is really cool, but I think overall I'm just geeked to join the creative community as a videographer, right? And really, what does that mean? Where can I take that? Like, am I going to get into special effects now? Am I going to learn masking in Premiere Pro and keyframing, and like, can I replace the colors of a tie? Like, I'm starting to be exposed to a lot, and it's like, oh man, this really is dope. This really is dope. And I still do have a smile on my face when I think about photography and when I'm actively out doing photography. I'm not smiling about video because I'm very serious about it, right? It's just definitely like, I don't get this. Think, grasp. Let your creativity let go. Like, can I get it? That's the stage I'm in right now. Very much in the trenches. Not an enjoyable stage in the moment, but I think as part of the journey, it becomes an enjoyable thing. And I'm just happy to be on another creative journey. That's just where I'm at with it. If you like the video, hit the like button. My name is Ramon. I'm out of here. Peace.